What's up, Melanated family? This is your boy Harrison, man, bringing you a brand new episode of the Melanated Convo podcast. How y'all doing today, man? There's a lot of things going on in the world right now that we're going to get into. Now, look, if this is your first time tuning into the show, I always say this for all my new listeners. People ask me, where can they find the podcast? When do I do the podcast? What is it about? So I want to make sure everybody who was a new listener had a clear idea of what I do here. The Melanated Convo podcast is a podcast designed to have interesting conversations, intriguing conversations about different perspective on things going on in black society. The reason why I use melanated opposed to black or African American is because I think one of the biggest issues that we've had being melanated people in this country is allowing our oppressor or allowing people who don't have our best interests at heart to identify who we are, right? So I like to identify things from more of a scientific perspective. That's why I use melanin and the phrase melanated opposed to using black or African American. But on the show, what I do here basically is have interesting conversations about things that go on in our community. We cover different news stories happening that pertain to black society specifically. We also have, the business spotlight section where I talk about a couple of different black business, melanated businesses that I think we all can benefit from. And like I said, dealing with, the COVID-19, man, dealing with how our country is imploding right now based on white supremacy and how we've been treated here as a people. One of the ways that we can combat this system, one of the ways that we can combat this mistreatment is by shopping with black people. So I try to find qualified black businesses, not just because they're black, but they're doing good business in the tiebreaker opposed to you going to someone else to get to do your business. You would go to them because they look like you and they're doing good business, right? So we do the news stories, we have the black businesses, and of course we have a topic. Today's topic, and I'll get to it in a minute, but today's topic is keeping the same energy. Now, what do I mean when I say keep the same energy? I'm looking at, which is remarkable, how many people are protesting in the street, right? We've been getting mistreated by cops and by this system since we came here, but right now it seems like everything is imploding on itself. It looks like the people in this country are finally tired of going through this shit, right? The melanated people in this country is finally standing up, of course, with some allies here and there, but for the most part, this is black people standing up saying, you know what, man, I'm tired of this shit. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely appreciate that, but at the same time, some of us, all year around, we do what we can to dismantle white supremacy, whether it be how we speak, whether it be the events we attend, or how we attempt to collaborate with people who are making changes, or even if it's just speaking truth to power, right? But I want to make sure that this isn't like a fly-by-night type of thing. I think it's really important that we all realize, because I know a lot of black people who are just coming to realize that this system don't have our back, or just coming to realize that it's important for them to do something, right? So I want to keep that same energy. Everybody out there who is participating in marches, you're sharing things online about the injustices of your people. I appreciate that. But at the end of the day, COVID-19 is going to be over soon. We may not be in a situation where they're highlighting police violence against black people on TV. So just because it's not in the media, just because it's not in your face, I don't want us to lose track on the fact that, Ahmaud Arbery's killers still need to be brought to justice. This George Floyd situation, these cops have been arrested, but we still need to see this through, right? So we need to pace ourselves, family, to continue to fight for justice, right? And we need to keep the same energy that we have right now to do that. So give me a second. I'll get into that. I'll give you my points on why I think it's important for the people in our community to keep the same energy. So let's get into it. Now, first things first, I'd like to talk about the news stories. First news story is a sister I talked about last week. Her name is Janice. She has a women's clothing boutique called Jlux Collection. This is an online clothing boutique. At the clothing boutique, you'll find a lot of nice clothes. She has jumpers. She has swimsuits, a lot of nice accessories on the website. And really, like I always say, we spend a lot of money outside of our community. I mean, that's a fact. We spend a lot of money with companies and brands that don't really give a shit about us. So anytime we can find a way to support somebody that looks like us, I think it's always a plus, right? So this sister, Janice, if you go to her website, the prices are good. If you're a woman, you're looking to get sexy, she has a lot of nice clothing for you. She's added she goes over like 3X. So all of the sisters who are a little bit bigger, you can still feel sexy. You can still find some clothes that represents who you are, right? So you want to go to jluxcollection.com. That's jluxcollection.com. If you buy anything over $75, you get the shipping for free. And like I said, she's added plus size clothing to her repertoire. So if you're a bigger sister, don't be ashamed. You feel me? You deserve to look nice too. Go to the website, the sister will hook you up. She also, she's offering a service called Afterpay, which I thought was really cool, especially with everything we're dealing with right now, because with the COVID-19 situation, a lot of people haven't been able to work. A lot of people aren't working as much. So your finances may not be what they once was. So this is just a great way to help people out, right? So with the Afterpay, when you get to the checkout on our website, it gives you the option to buy now, and you'll have a pay later option, kind of like a layaway type of thing. So I salute the sister for creating ways, to try to help people out during these difficult times. So go to the website, online women's boutique, clothes, swimsuits, jumpers, rompers, a lot of different things, right? That's jluxcollection.com, jluxcollection.com. Also, if you're in the Sacramento area, because this sister is local, anywhere you are in the country, you can go on the website and buy the clothes. But this sister is local. So she also, if you go to the website, there's a couple of pickup locations. So if you want to order it online and pick it up right here in Sacramento, you'll be able to do that as well. Okay. So go to the website right now, jluxcollection.com. Free shipping on all orders over $75. Now, for the next business. In our community, a lot of us are in positions where we want to buy a house. We want to go to a car lot and get a car that's a little bit nicer. We are in a position where we're about to get an apartment. Some jobs even do this as well. We are getting a credit card and want a lower interest rate, right? So your actual credit score is an extremely important factor when determining how you can go about getting things, the interest rates you receive, how lenient the company that you're dealing with will be, right? So for everybody out there who is dealing with credit issues, I want to send you guys to a sister named Shakira Rule. Now, Shakira is a credit repair specialist, right? She's been doing it for over 4 years. Her goal is to educate our community on the power of credit. She has assisted hundreds of individuals and families nationwide in reaching their goal for home ownership. Now, negative items such as collections, student loan, which I have, medical bills, and even bankruptcies can be removed from your credit within like 30 to 90 days, right? So a lot of us, sometimes you can go to these websites where you pull up your credit score and they're giving you tips on different things you can do. They're giving you tips on different things you can do. But this sister will kind of walk you through the process. So she'll walk you through the process and help you out, right? So if anybody out there hearing the sound of my voice, if you want to get help with your credit score, she'll give you a free 30-minute consultation where she'll kind of talk to you about your specific issues that you're dealing with to see how much of a benefit she will be able to be to you, right? So, of course, this sister is local, but anybody in the country can take advantage of her services. So her name is Shakira Rule. The number to reach her, you can message her at this number or call her, is 916-509-1165, or you can email her at shakirarule19@gmail.com. Her name is spelled Shakira Rule, RULE 19@gmail.com. Again, she is a credit repair specialist. If you're having problems with your credit, and I would say even if you may not feel that your credit is as bad as it once was, or you may not feel you may feel like you have it under control, right? I would say if it's under 750, we all need a little help. We all should try to get to that mark, right? At least, right? So if it's under that, I would say at least call her. Take advantage of the free 30-minute consultation. See what she can help you with. Ask her some questions. The sisters, like I said, she's been doing it for like 4 years now. If you go to her Instagram, if you go to her Facebook page, you'll see the people that she's been able to help. So she definitely has testimonials to kind of prove that she's actually been helping people out, right? So she's a credit repair specialist. That's the sister Shakira Rule. Again, the number is 916-509-1165. Or you can email her at shakirarule19@gmail.com. Now, that is it for the businesses. Now, let's move forward with the news stories. Family, you know I like to find news stories about things that we are aware of, things that we may not have been aware of, things that I just want to talk about. You feel me? Shit I just want to run my mouth about. So check it out. First news story is out of Washington State. Not Washington, D.C., but Washington State. And I bring up this story because we're focusing on George Floyd and his situation, and we should. Like, what happened to the brother is a travesty. The country is damn near burning right now because of it. And on some real shit, family, I love it, right? But we shouldn't get caught up. And my brother Tariq Nasheed said this same point, and I want to reiterate this. We shouldn't get so caught up on the individual per se as much as the entire system that we need to rebuild. So we can focus on his name, but every other day is somebody else. Every month is somebody else. So we need to focus on the big picture of kind of creating legislation in different ways to, you know, kind of curb the police violence if we can, right? So I want to talk about a brother named Manuel Ellis. Manuel Ellis lived in Washington State. And what basically happened on March 3rd of this year, he got stopped by the police. He had a small altercation with the police. Now, I think the brother may have tried to attack one of the officers or something like that. Now, this is what I heard from the news report, but you know how it be, family. They always add shit like this in there, so I don't really, you know, I kind of take it with a grain of salt. But at the end of the day, they killed the brother. The brother's name is Manuel Ellis. On March 3rd, they pulled him over. He was having a dispute with a woman. They had him on his back, just like they had George Floyd. And the crazy shit about it, family, he was saying the same thing, I can't breathe. And the reason why they're talking about this story today is because this has been ruled a homicide, right? This has been ruled a homicide, which is really, in a lot of cases, the first step to attempting to get these officers convicted, right? So it's been rendered a homicide. He died from hypoxia, 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 which occurs when your organs are deprived of oxygen and your heart becomes enlarged at that point, right? So in a similar hold like they had George Floyd, they had him on the ground, they had their knee in his back. So come on, man. You see what I'm saying? This is an ongoing thing that we have to address in our country, family. And again, I like the fact that we got so many people marching. I like the fact that I think through protests, a little bit of rioting, a little bit of violence, we were able to get all 4 of the officers charged, right? Which is a good first step. And the country in itself has just been really, I've seen a lot of major companies decide to come out and say that they're with us, come out and support Black Lives Matter or black people. A lot of famous people like a Michael Jordan, who has been kind of apolitical throughout his entire life, has decided to step up and put his money where his mouth is. Bob Johnson, which I have a story about him in a second, but Bob Johnson is kind of attempting to do the same thing. So I love it, man. I'm all for the positive energy. I'm gonna continue to be positive about it, but at the end of the day, we got to keep our focus on these people, man, because, you know, this shit has been happening to us for an extremely long time. So we can't get caught up in moments. We need to just stay steadfast with the movement. And, you know, I'll touch on a little more of that with the topic, which is keeping the same energy, because it's important. This energy we got right now around the country, we need to keep it, family. We need to keep moving the same way. We need to keep our necks on these, well, bad choice of words. We need to keep steadfast on everything that we have going on right now, right? Because around the country, like I was saying, a lot of people are fighting for our rights, even though, you know, we have a lot of white people in the mix, and it's hard to tell sometimes who's an ally and who's actually there for us. But if there are white people out there who are fighting and they're true allies, we can respect that. But there's always a lot of agents in the mix too, right? So we have to be cognizant of everything that's going on at the same time. So again, Manuel Ellis, he was from Washington State. He died March 3rd. He lived in Tacoma, Washington. And again, family, the situation was pretty much similar. He had a confrontation with 4 officers. They found a way to get him on the ground. While he was on the ground, a female was filming heard him say, "I can't breathe." She was saying the same shit, like, "Get off of him, you guys gonna hurt him." You know what I'm saying? So the same shit, man. It's what we continue to see. And again, over the past few shows, I've talked a little bit about slave patrols and plantation police. And to me, family, that form of policing, like creating a police force damn near exclusively to manage black people, to keep black people away from rich people's property, that's exactly what we still see in today, family, right? So it's important, again, that we stay focused on all of the shit that's going on, not just one person in particular, but as a system, how we're being treated. So RIP to the brother Manuel Ellis. Like I said, the cop who actually did this, it's been found that it was a homicide. So the next step is actually getting them convicted, right? So let's stay, because again, sometimes the media will shift the attention to another black incident, but we need to try our best to kind of step back and pay attention to all of it, because Ahmaud Arbery's case is still going on right now. We're still trying to figure out if those cops are actually going to be charged and put in the jail, right? So it's a lot going on right now, family, but you know, it's a great time to be black, in my opinion. It's a great time to be a melanated man or woman, because we're uprising at a rapid speed. We just need to keep going at that same pace, right? So RIP to the brother Manuel Ellis. And again, these crooked cops, we need to, if we not going to militarize ourselves and figure out a way to put ourselves in a position to defend our people when something violent happens, we need to do a better job of creating legislation. We need to find out ways to kind of get inside of this system to make a difference, because what we all can agree on, what we've been doing so far, what this system has been doing so far, it hasn't been fucking working, right? So next story, I want to talk about this story too, because like I just mentioned, Bob Johnson, who I brought up the story about him because I read a book a few years back called The $40 Million Slave. And in this book, it kind of talks about how the relationship between athletes and money, the relationship between athletes in the United States of America, like how they've been treated. It also talks about different black people who have been influential over the past 20 years and like what their take has been on racism and what their position has been on racism, right? I mentioned Michael Jordan a few minutes ago. Michael Jordan was in the book $40 Million Slave, where they mentioned how he remained apolitical, where he kind of stood out of black issues. He didn't involve himself with our struggle for the most part, right? So Bob Johnson was the same way. I mean, Bob Johnson owning BET, you know, for a really long time, BET didn't really provide us any programming that was beneficial to the mind. Like the I forgot the name of the show, but they would be late night twerking and shit, like the naked videos and all that shit. He went through a stage where he decided, he consciously decided, I'm not going to use this platform to elevate the minds of black people. I'm going to just use it to make money, right? And that's the long and short of it. So when I see, you know, he was on a show called Squawk Box or something like that. It's a CNBC show that's called Squawk Box, and this was last Monday. He was basically on this show talking about how he feels black Americans should get $14 trillion in reparations. That's $14 trillion in reparations. And I thought that was interesting, because if you follow like different black movements going on in America, there's a group called ADOS, American Descendants of Slaves, who are basically pushing for the same thing, right? I mean, some people don't agree with their ideology in totality. Some people don't agree with some of the quote unquote leaders of that group, or the people who like the leaders of the group. Some people don't agree with those individuals in particular, but what you have to agree with is the fact that we need some compensation for how we've been treated in this country. So Bob Johnson, and I think when you have more influential black people get on platforms and talk about this, it can possibly help make some of this a reality, right? Because he's a billionaire himself, right? So he speaks about how we need to get $14 trillion in reparations. He breaks down the wealth gap in America, which is all true. He breaks down how, you know, Indians have gotten reparations, Jews have gotten reparations, Asian people have gotten reparations to a degree. Even though when you look at the history of it, some of them got more than others. Some of them was kind of fucked over on how the money was received. But at the end of the day, they got it, right? At the end of the day, this government was able to fork over money to actually get that done. And when people tell me, the country wouldn't be able to afford to give us reparations, where would the money come from? Well, overnight they were able to give us these stimulus checks. Overnight they were able to come up with enough money to kind of do that, right? So I think in any case they can do it for us too. They just don't want to. And I know some people say, and I want to get y'all take on it, like, as a black person in America, knowing everything we've been through, do you think we deserve reparations? Do you think there need to be some form of money given to us, right? It could be either like checks, it could be land, right? It could be money, and like all melanated kids go to college for free, some shit like that, right? So to me, it's like 100 different ways you can give it, but you need to just give it, right? Because I look at I've seen a lot of different interviews and political pundits talking. They make it sound like that would be the worst decision in the world, right? And if you're a white person to me, and you look at the idea of us getting money for our misfortunes, if you look at that as something that shouldn't happen or won't happen, then you're probably a low-key white supremacist yourself. Because there's no way you can look at the people who created everything, the people who fucking built this country, and people tell you that, like, we built the country. That's literal, family. All the systems in place right now were made possible by the money from cotton, right? Were paid possible by the money from rice. Like, this is the real shit. So without the slave labor, the economy that we sit on right now in the United States of America wouldn't even be made possible. So in actuality, we need reparations more so than anyone who's gotten it so far. More so than Asians, more so than Indians, more so than the Jewish people. I mean, they've had their hard go at it, and they've definitely been through things in this country. But when we talk about America, no one has been treated worse than the black American man, woman, and child. No one, right? So at the end of the day, we deserve some goddamn money too. So shout out, man, to the brother Bob Johnson for stepping up, for putting his neck on the line, because you know how America is, family. Sometimes you can speak out about something you don't like or something you think should happen, and after that point you can get blackballed, or after that point they could put you in a situation where your money gets slowed down a little bit, right? So we gotta understand that sometimes we're so quick to expect celebrities or people of influence to step in and speak for us, or step in and say something, and that's cool. But at the end of the day, sometimes when you have a whole lot to lose, it makes it a little more difficult for you to make that decision. Now, I'm one who would do it regardless of anything. Like, I'm not going to allow money to come in between me attempting to empower my people. Like, I'll never do that. But everybody's different. You see what I'm saying? So regardless of if you decide to step up for black people now, or you did it in the future, I respect that, because I see a lot of people kind of shitting on Bob Johnson, like, where have you been all this time? You ain't been helping us before. Some people have even referenced how he operated BET and sold it and all these things, right? Look, man, at this point, the brother is coming out saying that he's with us. The brother is coming out saying that he think we should get reparations. And if he keep riding with that, I'm with him, right? We need to figure out a way to unify at all costs. And whether you come to the party late or early, I'm still rocking with you, right? So shout out to the brother Bob Johnson for, putting that on the table. And hopefully, because of his influence, because of what he's been able to do in this country, the powers that be will take a look. Because I think they're examining reparations right now. They introduced something, I think it's HR 20, HR 40, don't quote me on that, but where it's examining reparations. And I didn't like that term. Like, I mean, what the fuck? You're examining it. You know exactly what we need. If you have two eyes and you're an adult and you've been looking at how this country operates, you know exactly what we need. So creating a team to examine it, that's like, yeah, but it's better than nothing. And hopefully, again, with the movement that's been going on and the people in this country speaking out against injustice, I think it's causing a trickle-down effect where it's going to affect a lot of us in a positive way. But the unity is what's going to do it. Like, when we look at Trayvon Martin, when we look at Sandra Bland, when we look at all of these instances where we've been treated wrong by the cops and it's been blatant murder, right? Eric Gardner, all of these things, when these things took place, there wasn't protest all around the country like it is now, not to this degree, right? So I think that sign of unity has worked wonders for this movement so far. So when I see people rioting, protesting, I think, of course, the financial part of the rioting, ruining businesses, there could be a blowback from that. If you ruin a business in your neighborhood, they may be slow to reopen it, slow to rebuild it. We already have a lot of shit not going for us already as far as brick and mortar businesses in the black community. So I get that a little bit, but at the end of the day, man, this is a war. So in the war, there's gonna be casualties. So I look at people who've had their windows bust out or had things stolen out of their store. People, if I think you're a fair-minded person and some of that has happened to you, I feel for you. If you've been building up your business and you don't have some corporate entity that's helping you out, and you've built up your business to a point where you're successful now, and let's say you don't have insurance, or you do. I heard some people had insurance or have insurance, but it's only going to pay 20%, 30% of what was actually taken out of your store. Hey, look, man, that's horrible. That's horrible, and I don't wish that upon nobody. But and this is what I tell everybody: blame the government. Don't blame the looters. Now, again, there are people looting and rioting who aren't a part of the movement. There are people doing this who are strictly out there for a payout, or they was gonna rob some shit anyway. They just seen this as an opportunity to steal something. There's always gonna be bad seeds and shit like this. I mean, we need to be cognizant of that. But at the end of the day, everybody out there protesting, everybody out there, I would say the majority of the black people out there that are protesting are doing it for a good reason. And in the middle of that war, if some shit get broken up, some shit gets stolen, so be it. If George Floyd was alive, your store wouldn't have got broke into. Now that's facts. And again, I don't want to seem insensitive, because if you have a business, my family is business owners, so I know if some shit happened to our business, we would be hurt by it. We would be upset by it. But at the end of the day, we kind of understand this is the game, man. This is the world that we live in. This country is imploding right now, and it's their fault. It's the powers that be fault. So I'm not going to blame a lone looter or a lone rioter when this is a much bigger issue, starting with the United States government. You know what I'm saying? So again, shout out to the brother Bob Johnson. I hope something comes from it. 14 trillion definitely sounds right to me. I seen somebody online say that don't sound like enough, but shit, it is definitely a starting point. So shout out to the brother Bob Johnson for putting forth something that we definitely need, and people have told me, well, because of how much as black folks we consume, I had somebody tell me, well, if we get reparations, we just gonna give it right back to them. If we get reparations, we not gonna spend the money on businesses. Well, I think slow down a little bit. You know what I mean? That's some people. Of course, we have some people in our society that are black, melanated, who will take that money and go buy hella Jordans, take that money and go buy rims or go buy. But I think we're gonna have an equally number of people who will take that money and start a business, take that money and put into an organization, take that money and buy a house, take that money to buy stock. A lot of us in the community will use that money to better our families' lives. You know what I'm saying? So fuck that. We need reparations. Cut that check. Now, next story. The last story today, too. So I can get into the conversation, family. Now, by now, I'm sure everybody has heard about the comments Drew Bree's made about the flag and, him being ignorant to the fact that it was never about the flag, right? So I think that's important. I think we have a lot of closet racists in this country on all levels: politics, entertainment, sports, right? We have a lot of white men and women in this country who, if not completely racist, they're really indifferent about us. Like they don't damn near see us as American citizens, even though they may say it. When it comes to us getting treated fairly, when it comes to us getting treated being denigrated and going through all this negative shit, they don't really see us like that, right? So the brother, the quarterback Drew Brees came out and said that he don't participate or he don't appreciate people not standing for the flag, regardless of what's going on. You should stand for the flag. He has grandpas and people in his family that went to war, and he feel like it's an insult to them. Now, and this is the thing about the apology, family. In American culture, shit, people say what they mean and then come out and apologize later. I say that again. People say what they mean and then come out and apologize later. Now, of course, he came out and apologized, and it sounded good. He said he understands that this isn't about the flag, and it's about racism, and it's about the injustices, and if you don't understand that, then blah, 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 blah. I get it, and maybe he's telling the truth, because we got to understand he's an athlete. He's worth a lot of money. His how he's viewed by society is on the line. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that influenced the apology, but in any case, I'm bringing up the story because, family, I grew up in the inner city for the most part, and for whatever reason, there was some white people around a little bit, but for whatever reason, I've never really had a white friend. Not trying to, like on some real shit. I don't feel about it that way. It just never kind of happened, right? But here's the thing, family, black folks. If you got white people around you, you got to vet the white people around you. You can't be just having white motherfuckers around you and not know how they feel about you, right? Because the shit jump off, they'll bust you in your head, right? So you want to talk to your white friends. If you are serious about being friends with somebody, first you need to inform yourself. First you need to do a little research yourself on how things have transpired in our society and why black people get treated the way they treat, why we've been getting treated the way we've been getting treated since we got here. Like, it's important for you to know these things. So if you're in a situation where you have a white friend, you need to inform your white friend. Now, sometimes I think it's the whole naivete thing where when they get busted, they act like they ain't know what was going on. They act like they didn't know they were saying something that was wrong. So we got the people that do that too. But at the end of the day, if you, because again, I don't have no white friends. I've been associated with a few white dudes throughout my life, working and things like that, where I've had conversations with them about white supremacy, and I let them know how I feel about shit. A couple of them have been liberal, meaning they were interested in hearing and seemed like they wanted to kind of make a difference. But I think it's not our job to convince them. But if you're going to be around somebody white, you better get an idea of how they feel about you, right? I think sometimes as black folks, we do this shit where, because, you know, they say in society you shouldn't talk about politics or religion. And I think that's the stupidest shit ever. Why? Because that's how you figure out who somebody is. Talk to somebody about their faith. Talk to somebody about who they voting for. For the most part, you're going to get a clear idea how they feel about your ass. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get a clear idea how they feel about society, how they feel about black folks at least. You know what I mean? So I think you should have those detailed conversations with anybody you consider a friend, right? And I make that point because Drew Brees is on the team. Fucking 70% of the players on this team is black, maybe even higher, right? And you on a team, you're a co-worker with this dude, and you don't even know that he don't even fuck with you like that. He throwing you the ball every Sunday. You know what I mean? So I don't know how many of those guys are actually his friends, but he should. But if that's your friend, pull your friend to the side, man. And if you see he's not gonna change his views, or he's not gonna be open to a different way of thinking, say fuck him. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes we get in positions, man, where we want to be liked by white folks too fucking much. I don't look. My biggest goal in life at this point is to figure out how I can empower everybody around me. My family, of course, but my community, completely my community. That's who I'm riding for, my community. So if I have things to say about my views on this world and you're not comfortable with it, I don't give a fuck at this point, man. All of us need to be that way. It's too late in the game for that, man. It's 2020 now. If you're an adult and you haven't done your due diligence on how this world works and how this world has been operating over the past 300-400 years, then that's not my problem. You know what I mean? But when we have opportunities to speak to people outside of our community, it's not our job to educate them. But if you're going to be around this person, you should let them know how you feel. If you're going to be around this person, you need to make sure, if you're in a room full of white people, that you on code. You feel me? You ain't telling black jokes with them. Some shit come up about somebody black. You're not the representative of all black people, but being on code means I defend my brother and sister. If you tell me, if you white and you tell me some negative shit about somebody black, I'm gonna be honest, family. Even if I agree with you, even if I think there's some credence to that, if I don't know how you feel about black people, if I haven't had those hard conversations with you about racism, about inequalities, then I gotta stay on code with you. I'm gonna be on code anyway, but I gotta remain on code and defend my people, defend whatever situation that may be. I'm gonna defend it because I don't know where your allegiance stands. Sometimes if you're black in a group full of white people, they may think if you let them get away with a black joke, if you let them get away with telling a little joke about a situation involving a black person, they may think you with that shit, and all of a sudden they calling you nigga, right? All of a sudden they telling full-on black jokes and expecting your ass to laugh, right? So fuck that. At all costs, you stand up for your people, and that's whether this shit is going on, whether we getting killed in the street and the media is blasting it to us, or there's nothing going on, and there's always injustices, but just because it's not on TV, just because the media ain't blasting it out, don't mean you shouldn't still give a fuck about it, right? So the quarterback Drew Brees came out and said he's sorry, came out and apologized. I hope he means it. I hope he can learn something from what he said and what happened, and actually become an advocate of black people. Like, I'm not against our white brothers and sisters, Asian, Mexican, or whatever, being an advocate and being an ally for our struggles. But if your attitude is fuck black people, if your attitude is indifferent about black people, if your attitude is, well, there's still black on black crime, then fuck you, family. We don't got no time for that. So I'm not going to sit here and listen to you talk. I'm not going to involve myself with any of that if I know you don't have my people's best interest at heart. Now, you should be able to have a conversation with anybody, but if you're racist, if you showing me you're racist, if you showing me you're a white supremacist, fuck that. A white supremacist, fuck that. I see how you operate, and I'm gonna stay away from you. You feel me? But we gotta be willing to say, look, these are my struggles of my community, and I represent them. I represent what they go through, because sometimes when you're around, one more thing I'll say about that, sometimes when you're around white friends, and let's say you talk different, let's say you talk a little better, let's say you don't wear your pants below your goddamn ass, let's say you don't have any of the quote-unquote nigger qualities, you know how people outside of our community see it. If you don't have any of those qualities, you seem clean cut, you seem like your household is better, all this shit really don't matter. But sometimes they'll see you as that, and they'll think, okay, you're one of the good ones, right? I can talk to you and I can be friends with you because you're one of the good ones, right? Family, never get caught up in that shit. Never get caught up in that, because we're all the same. When we get pulled over by the cops, when we find ourselves in certain situations, the amount of money you got don't matter. The amount of influence you got don't matter. How you talk don't matter. Where you come from don't matter. Your skin color is what matters, right? So never get caught up in thinking because you've done some good things with your life, whether it be financially, whether it be where you live now, whether it be the school you attended, whether it be the job you have. None of these things mean anything, family, in the face of white supremacy. You can be you a hash, like my boy Tariq Nasheed like my boy Tariq Nasheed say, you a hashtag away from being dead like all the other ones. You see what I'm saying? So it's important that we realize that, family. It's important that we realize that. It's important that we realize that as a community, it's really important that we try to stick together, that we try to do our best to be on one accord, right? So Drew Brees, family, hopefully this was real. Hopefully your apology was real. Hopefully you can be an advocate for the black community going forward. But if not, like I said, man, fuck you like all the other white supremacists. You feel me? Now, for the topic of the day, family, for the topic of the day. Now, like I was saying, the topic for the day is keeping the same energy. And I'll say it again. When I say keep the same energy, what do I mean? Right? We got all this protest going on. We got people fighting for black struggle. We got people, when I look at my social media accounts, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, flooded with people who are disgusted by what they see going on in the country, flooded with people who are excited about where the movement's going and how we've been doing thus far, about getting these cops convicted, or not convicted, but getting them charged rather, right? So I'm seeing a lot of different things online from our community, man, and overall I'm excited by it, man, because again, like I said in the opening, some of us who make it our business to try to seek out injustices and either speak about it or do something about it, this is just kind of how we see the world, and this is every day for us. But for people, anybody in our community, any black person listening to the sound of my voice, any melanated person listening to the sound of my voice, if before this incident, or maybe the Iman Arbery incident, before these incidents, if you didn't really, how can I say it? If you didn't really see it if you didn't think it was your job to speak up about injustices, if you didn't think it was up to you to do anything about injustices, to go out on the streets and march, to tell people about different parts of history, if you didn't see that it was your place to do any of those things, and now you're doing it, and now you finally see the light for whatever reason, I applaud you, family. I applaud you, family. I've been seeing a lot of people, I won't name no names, but I've been seeing a lot of people I know who are black, who before, and I think I said this last week too, but I want to drive this point home, who before this situation, in my opinion, could give a fuck less about black struggle. Like, they didn't care. They didn't talk about it. They cared more about just the regular shit that comes on TV and housewives and, you know, entertainment and sports. They spoke about entertainment, sports, movies, different TV shows. They spoke more passionately about those things than they did about their own people, right? So now, because like I said last week, sometimes the best solutions come out of really tragic and unfortunate situations, right? So all the people now who I see doing this, who are fighting for change, who are fighting for justice, I applaud you. But it's important, family, that you keep the same energy. It's important that you take, because some people I know, their activism goes as far as a tweet or sharing something on Facebook or sharing something on Instagram, and that's a start. Like, I'm not gonna knock you if that's how you want to participate, but just know, family, that we got to keep the same energy. We got to go from being online discussing how you're upset with something, discussing how injustices are, the injustice you are witnessing is pissing you off. That's one step. The next step, family, and everybody hear me clear. Everybody hear me clearly. When all this shit dies down and there's no media coverage of us getting our brains blown out, and there's no social media campaigns that are expressing how fucked up it is in the world, it's up to you to keep that shit going, family. Now, how do you keep it going is the question, right? What can you do to help out? What can you do to participate in the movement, right? I would say whatever you're comfortable doing, family. If you want to start off marching peacefully, go march. Just know that there has to be some more steps to that, right? So you can go from marching to being a part of an organization, volunteering for an organization. Like, there's a lot of things we all can do to help out. Because I wouldn't say, because me personally, even though I haven't been able to yet, but if my city, I live in Sacramento, California, if we have more marches and more protests that are peaceful, well, shit, peaceful or not, we have more marches or protests that may happen in my city, I'm gonna go just to show solidarity with the people, right? That's why I'll go. I have a platform where I talk about black issues, where I voice my opinion about things that go on in society. I share a lot of information on my website, melanatedfathers.com, about history, about the things we've go through. So I'm passionate about my people and figuring out a way to empower them, right? But you got to stand with the people too. So I don't mind going to a march just to stand out there with the people, get a vibe for everything, how everything is operating. But at the end of the day, my humble opinion is marching don't really do shit. When we look at the cops being charged, again, we're waiting to get them convicted. But even when you look at the cops being charged, I personally don't think that happened because of marching and protesting. I think maybe some of the looting, maybe some of the violence, maybe some of the loss of finances, maybe some of the deaths. I heard a couple cops have gotten killed throughout all this thing, throughout all of this. I think that's more pertinent to this system making a difference than us just marching, because we've been marching since the 60s, family. And you know, I said this on the show I was on Saturday. This country talks about Martin Luther King and his affinity for marching and him using that form of resistance to get the best results, right? But what we never see a lot is, before he died, the brother mentioned, I may have integrated my people into a burning building, which basically means I've been trying to be peaceful and on one accord with some people who don't see life that way. I've been trying to be nice to some goddamn heathens, to some beasts, right? Whereas maybe I should have been doing the same thing they was doing to me to get some respect, right? So ultimately, I'm not a marcher or a protester. I think we can spend our time better ways. But if any of the melanated family are out there putting their life on the line, anything can happen while you're out there. If anybody's out there marching, protesting, and they are doing it for the right reasons, I can't knock that, right? Because even if you're not, because your time is important to me. That's how I view time. You go out there for an hour, for 2 hours, that's 2 hours you can't get back, family. So time and sweat equity are a real thing to me too. So I appreciate that. Just know we got to go from marching to actually putting your feet on the ground and doing something else, right? So hopefully everybody that's out there is marching. Everybody who thinks voting is the end all be all to solving our problems, that's black folks. You know, I believe in voting. I think there is a place for it locally. I don't think voting for a president, people say, oh, fuck Donald Trump. Well, who else we got? See, I'm not going to play the game where I take the better of two evils. I'll just step out altogether. That's how I feel. And people say, well, no, well, you're not voting, so you're not participating. Well, no, I pay taxes. They take my money like they take everybody else's, right? Whether I vote or not, they coming at my goddamn check. So I don't want to hear that. But at the end of the day, again, voting is a step, right? But I don't think you should cast your vote and just go home and be like, I'll wait for the politicians to do something good for me. Because at the end of the day, family, when have they? Name the politicians or the president that has done something specifically for black folks, because that's my agenda. Like, I don't look for presidents and say, okay, what is he going to do about healthcare? What is he going to do about education? What is he going to... Cool. All those things are important, but I'm going to ask, how you going to do that for my community specifically, not minorities? Because shit, gay white men and white women are minorities. When we say minorities, who we talking about? You know what I mean? Who we talking about? So I don't like vague shit. I'm learning that. Sometimes they'll hit us with a promise and it'll be vague than a motherfucker. Nah. If you're gonna do something for black people now, people used to tell me a president cannot do anything for a specific group of people, right? And I look back and I'm like, is that true? Well, Obama, President Obama, the black president, he said on TV and said, you know what? I was against gay marriage before. I was against it. Now I'm with it. Now, if you want to get married, you want to wrestle with your dude, shit. I'm with it now. You feel me? And this is just my opinion, that led the way for this gay movement we see now, where all of a sudden I can't cut on the TV without seeing a gay couple. I can't cut on my favorite TV show without them crowbarring some gay shit in there. And I think he led the way for this type of legislation. So you mean to tell me he couldn't have said on TV, say, you know what? I used to think that reparations for black people wasn't a good idea. Now I do. Right? Because sometimes people used to tell me that Obama couldn't say shit. Now granted, we know he black. We know the backlash he got from a lot of shit. But come on, man. Trump is showing us you can say what the fuck you want to say. Now, of course, he's a white man in America, but you're taking the presidency and being black. It's almost like you took the job knowing you was going to be in handcuffs. And I don't know the brother. I don't want to speak ill on him like that, but I will say what I know is a fact. I'm a melanated black man in this country, and there was a person who looked pretty much like me in the White House, and he didn't do anything specifically for me. That's fucked up. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. Trump is white and rich. He does shit for his white and rich friends. You know what I mean? He do what the fuck he want to do. So I'm not going to look at him and say, okay, he couldn't have did this, he couldn't have did that. I think he could have did what he wanted to do, but I think we had unrealistic expectations of Obama, because and this is something we should pay attention to. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. This is something we should pay attention to. If your skin color looks like mine, but you didn't go through the American black experience, you may not relate to me like that. You may not feel like we are the same. You know what I mean? Obama was raised in Hawaii by a white grandma. I mean, she could put on all the soul music she want to. The dynamics is still different. So he may not feel a connection to the black American man. That's just my opinion, right? So voting can help. Marching, I'm not completely against that if you want to get out there and do that, opposed to just sitting on your ass, not doing nothing. But ultimately, we need to figure out ways to be involved. So after all this died down, I want everybody hearing the sound of my voice determine how are you going to be a part of the movement when all of this died down. Now, you can start by reading some books, watching some podcasts, watching some documentaries. I mean, because of how media is set up today, because of how social media is set up, because of how the sheer amount of content that we have on all fronts, to me, it's no reason for you to be unaware of how things work. So whether you want to start reading, watching documentaries, whether you want to say, okay, black businesses are important, I want to start one. Maybe you don't have the money to start one. Maybe you don't have the wherewithal to start one. Support a black business. If you don't have the money to start one yourself, support a black business. You get a paycheck like most of us do, right? Find out a way to support a black business. It could be a black restaurant. I talk about black businesses on these shows. Go to the business, support these businesses. If these people become wealthy and we have a whole bunch of black people making more money, that's going to help out all of us ultimately. That's going to make things easier on all of us, right? Like, I'm looking at everything from a black family in totality, not just my family. We got to get out of that shit, y'all. We're thinking about just the people in our house. Of course, it's important to think about your kids, the people in your house, your woman, your girl. That's great. But at the end of the day, if you black in America, it's about all of us. It's about 40 million people who look like you. What can you do to make a change in these people's lives, right? So even if you don't start a business, try to be a part of a movement, right? Try to go volunteer. Try to see where you can help out in different areas. And ultimately, right, let's say you don't start a business. Let's say you don't go out and march, or you don't go out and support a movement. You don't go out and be a part of an organization that's looking to empower black folks. Fine. Just stay on code then. Around white people, around people that are not in our community, be on code. Talk highly of black people. Talk nice to black people. Say hi to black people when you see them in the street. You know what I mean? If you are in a position where you've amassed a certain amount of money, or you're real popular, or whatever the case may be, don't look at black folks that may still live in the hood. Don't look at a group of brothers who got their pants down low. They yelling hella loud and acting a little niggerish, right? Don't look at them like you better. Don't look at them and frown your nose up. Nah, them your brothers too, and they can have their dreadlocks with they smelling like weed, with their pants down to their knees. The powers that be see us as one big nigga. They don't separate us the way we separate ourselves. You feel me? So it's important that we realize that, family. This movement should be like, I can't put this on other people. I don't know what your passions are. I don't know what pushes you to get up in the morning, right? But for me, besides wanting to please my family and wanting to do the best I can for my family, what gets me up in the morning is knowing that I'm a part of a community that's underprivileged. I'm a part of a community that's been disenfranchised for years upon years. So I put it on myself. How can I, as an individual, it ain't about money, it ain't about none of that shit, how can I, as an individual, empower the people around me to make this world, to make my community a better place than when I left it, right? That should be the end goal for all of us. And I know a lot of people that I know, they do community work in all aspects, right? They do homeless shit. They do things for homeless people. They will fucking save the whales. They'll say fuck cancer because they had a family member who died from cancer or something. Man, I'm with all these movements. Like, it's a lot of ills in our society that need to be taken care of, that need to be eradicated, right? But the first one, for me, the first thing that needs to be eradicated is how the treatment of black and brown bodies have affected this country. That's the first thing. So before I can fucking save the whales, right? Even the homeless shit. I every Monday and Wednesday, based on the COVID-19 situation, me and my family decided to feed the community. That's Monday and Wednesdays, 11 a.m. till the food's gone. It's been going great so far. We feed the community based on the financial aspect of this COVID-19 thing. Just understand that a lot of people was fucked up financially. A lot of people finances changed like overnight, right? So it was like, what can we do to help out? And we give out lunches. It's been going great. We've almost given out 1,000 lunches already, and this has been over a 7-week time period. And we're giving lunches to everybody who need it. Like, this is an urgent moment where I'm on my black shit, but whoever come to the table, come on now, we African, we allow people in regardless, right? So I'm giving the food to whoever need it, and there are going to be instances like that. The programs that I offer and the things that I'm going to be doing with Melanated Fathers of America is primarily for melanated men, women, and children. However, I'm not going to ostracize anybody else. If somebody from another community wants to partake, as long as you ain't on no bullshit, right? We gonna monitor your ass like a motherfucker, but as long as you ain't no bullshit, I want to help everybody. But I'm gonna help my community. While I'm helping my community, anybody can get help, right? When you go to Chinatown, this is a perfect example. Somebody told me, why you use melanated? Why don't you use just all people? All people don't need help. Look, man, when you go to Chinatown, that shit is written in Chinese. Everybody around is Chinese. Everything in the store was made for them. But can you buy something from the store? Hell yeah, they'll take your money. You know what I mean? They'll take your money. You ain't got to be Chinese to shop there. But they going to let you know, look, this is some Chinese shit. Come on in here. But the music Chinese, the smell is Chinese, the pictures is Chinese. To me, that's just a people representing their people, right? We should be able to do the same thing. We should be able to have some blackety black shit and stand on it. But as a member of a different community, if you need one of the services, if we're selling something and you want to buy it, if we're giving something for free and you want it, I mean, yeah. Yes, you can come. We are serving our people first for the most part. But anybody outside of the community, yes. But again, man, I got to represent for my people first. And I think everything that's going on in the country right now, I absolutely love the unity. I absolutely love the uproar and how we just causing a goddamn ruckus everywhere. We should be. And I'm with my people. Regardless if there's small things about a movement I don't like, I don't throw away the whole movement because I understand there's a bigger picture here. Right? So there's issues. People in black society have issues with Black Lives Matter as an organization. They have issues with ADOS as an organization. There's a lot of black men in our community that people have issues with. We have Brother Polites. We have the Umar Johnsons. We have the Boyce Watkins, the Tariq Nasheeds, Zoe Williams, Corey Holcomb. These are all black men that These are all black men that I personally think their main goal is to empower us, right? Their main goal is looking out for black people, even though they may have shit about them personally that you may not rock with as much. But as long as we have shit in common to handle, then that's all that matters. That's all that matters, family. I know too many black people around me. I'm gonna say my family and just everybody around me. It's too many black people around me who, for the most part, don't really give a fuck about black issues. So when I see anybody going out on a limb, risking their career, risking their financial status in this country just to speak up for black folks, that inspires me. That inspires me because I think that's kind of the... Excuse me, family. I think that's one of the ways all this can stop, family. If we figured out a way to unify... Excuse me. I'm burping all over the damn place. Sorry about that. So, not unify as in meet up in one room, but create a code of conduct that we all follow. Understand that we all need each other. So, if I find out that this black man has been working for black people, he's been raising money, he's been let's say he creates classes to help black people become more financially literate. Let's say he creates documentaries. Let's say he's trying to create a school. Let's say he's trying to create a business. And then I find out that there's one thing about him I don't like. I'm not going to be like, fuck the brother altogether just because I found out there's a thing about him I don't like. We don't do that shit to white folks. You figure out a way to still work with white folks after you realize they don't like your ass. Walmart, hella rude to you. They short you on some change. They give you some shit you didn't want. You going back tomorrow, family. What's the difference? What's the difference? Smug come and say they going to cut your shit off. Smug say they need some money. You going to cop a plea and see what you got to do to keep that business relationship going, right? We need to look at black folks the same exact way. Just because we don't agree on everything, I'm sure we can find something to agree on, right? So again, man, for all my black folks out there who are now interested in black struggle, who are now speaking up, who are now saying, hey, shit ain't fair, right? Like, I don't care if it took you your whole life to get to this point. You're here now. So now it's important that you keep the thing going. I'm family. In a minute, the news, TV, social media won't show anything about the issues we've been facing as black people. You won't see any police videos. You won't hear no talk of Black Lives Matter. You won't hear any companies coming out and saying they support us. When all this shit die down, you got to keep it going as an individual. You see what I'm saying? Because I don't want this, and I'm being positive, but I don't want this to be a thing where a lot of black folks is only speaking up for us right now because the shit is in their face, because everybody's talking about it, because we know how trendy our culture can be at times. We know how much of a follower system we got going on right now. A motherfucker's just following the leader. Hopefully that's not what's going on. Hopefully, you seen that video, or you seen a march, or you seen something that put a spark in your heart to make you say, you know what? I'm not going for this shit no more. On a personal level and on a communal level, I'm going to work with the people around me. I'm going to do what I can to change this shit. I'm being positive, and I'm hoping that that's what I'm witnessing. That I'm not witnessing people who are just jumping on the bandwagon because it's going on right now. When all this shit dies down, family, we need you to keep the same energy and ride for your people regardless, right? Because we going to need all of us. You feel me? We don't know how this is going to turn out with these cops. We don't know how it's going to turn out with Trump getting reelected. So like I said, you can be a part of the political system. I'm not saying we need politics. Politics is a big part of our country. So you need to figure out a way to infuse yourself in that system, learn as much as you can and try to participate. Learn as much as you can and try to participate. But at the end of the day, family, all we got is us. All we got is us. So we need to figure out a way to remain unified and be on that black shit, because that's going to be consistent. The person they put in the White House is going to change. The person they put in these different political positions is going to change. But if at the end of the day, your main goal is to ride for your people, then that's going to be your main goal. That's what we all need to focus on, regardless of who's in office. I don't get caught up in the Republican or the Democrat shit. All these motherfuckers racist. So I'm looking at, okay, Republican, Democrat, what do you got planned for black people specifically, right? For black folks specifically, right? So that's why I think it's important, family, that we keep the same energy, right? So I want to thank everybody, man, for tuning into another episode of the Melanated Convo podcast. This is your boy Harrison. To catch the show, now the show is just on YouTube. You can go to YouTube to get the show. That's Melanated Fathers TV. I want everybody to do me a favor and go to Melanated Fathers TV on YouTube. That's Melanated Fathers TV on YouTube. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell so when I drop new videos, you'll get it. I drop my podcast on this YouTube page. I also drop a lot of information about history. Like I have a History Matters section where I do videos about different people or places or situations throughout history that I think the family can benefit from. Follow me on Instagram at Melanated Fathers 100. My personal Instagram is Southpaw_100. I love y'all, man. I do everything I do for the love of my people, and this is a marathon, like my boy Nipsey would say. This is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So let's buckle down, learn what we need to learn, keep pushing forward so we can keep helping our people. This has been another episode of the Melanated Convo podcast, y'all. I'm out.